Hello guys, you're welcome once again to my channel. In this episode 3, we'll talk about how to write the introduction section of your research paper. Kindly subscribe and share this video with friends. Thank you.
The introduction section explains the rationale behind undertaking the study and clearly describes the main purpose of conducting it. It should be focused, succinct, and crisp, providing an extensive and detailed literature review, not stating the hypothesis of the objectives with clarity, and not providing focused information are some of the common mistakes that the authors should stay away from. Until now, much of your science writing has focused on writing reports in which you simply described what you did and what you found. Although this will help you write the central report sections of a research paper or thesis, it doesn't prepare you for writing an introduction to a full length of a research article. This is a new task that faces you once you move on to research writing. In practice, you will find that you need to be certain about what you have done and what you have found in order to write the introduction. And so the best time to write it will be after you have written or at least drafted the report sections. The content of the introduction section of your research paper should cover the background information about the topic, your reason for undertaking the study, your references to preliminary work or closely related papers, the explanation of terms and abbreviations, introduction to content that will lead the reader to the discussion or conclusion section. In order to help you write the introduction to your own research, the model you build must answer the following questions. Why the study needed to fill in the gap in scientific knowledge? Why does this gap need filling? How do writers normally start the introduction? What type of information should be in my introduction, and in what order? How do writers normally end the introduction? Always start the section with a general background of the topic and add 2 to 3 paragraphs that discuss the previous work, if any. Point out the issues that are being addressed in the present work. Let's take a look at the steps involved in writing the introduction. Step 1. Show what is already known. That's also known as the background information. Give a strong statement that reflects your research subject area. State the topic and the problems explored in your study. Ask questions to frame the aims of the study. Use keywords for your title. Don't state obvious or broad facts about your topic. Highly relevant information is always more useful. Here, you should also be sure to cite all of the sources referenced. Only give useful background information. Only review relevant, up-to-date primary literature that supports your explanation of current base of knowledge. Step 2. Show the gap in knowledge. Highlight areas of too little available information. Explain why and how we should fill in that gap. Explain what logical steps can be developed based on existing research. Here, you should also show you have examined current data and devised a plan. Show your peers your awareness of the directions of your field. Show confidence in pursuing this study. Step 3. Show how your study fills in the knowledge gaps. That's also known as the purpose and hypothesis. State your purpose and give a clear hypothesis of objective of the study. Hypothesis should be written in 1 to 2 sentences and often written in an if-then format. Tell what useful knowledge will be gained. In writing the introduction section of your research paper, we need to look at the grammar and writing skills. This section deals with 4 language areas which are important in the introduction. First of all, let's look at the tenses. The present simple or present continuous. For example, A. I live in Accra. B. I am living in Accra. A describes a permanent situation and B describes a temporary situation. Because of this, the present simple tense is used in science writing to state accepted facts and truths. Now let's look at the signaling language. As a writer, you need to make sure that gap is closed. so that your reader is carried away carefully from one piece of information to the next. Connecting sentences and concepts is good for you too, as it forces you to develop your ideas logically. One way to connect sentences is to overlap, meaning to repeat something from the previous sentence. For example, the pattern of inflammation during an asthma attack is different from that seen in a stable asthma. In stable asthma, the total number of inflammatory cells does not increase. Passive or active use. The usage of we, we, and it when writing the introduction section of your research paper. You can use we to refer to your research group or team, but do not use it to refer to people or humanity in general. If you are referring to people in general, it's better to use a construction with it rather than we. It is also common to use the passive instead of we, especially in the central report section. In a thesis, you are writing as an individual and you don't have a research group or team. Since you cannot write your thesis using I, you will probably write in the passive. Use words like here and in the study to let your reader know when you are referring to your own work. Paragraphing when writing the introduction section of your research paper. Paragraphing is the practice of dividing a text into two paragraphs. The purpose of paragraphing is to signal shifts in thinking and give readers a rest. Paragraphing is a way of making visible to the reader the stages in the writer's thinking. In summary, we can say that your introduction should be made up of 1. What is already known. 2. What is unknown. That's the gap you want to fill. 3. How and why we should fill this gap. This is the end of this episode. Episode 4 will seek to tell you about literature review and then theoretical and conceptual frameworks in research.
Thank you very much for watching this video. I hope you've learned something. I'll see you in my next video, which will be episode 4. Bye.